the first thing I actually wanted to start with was just a bit of a discussion, obviously, around social media, with the fact that, like, we had probably almost every game this weekend was streamed through GAA Go. Like, I think Cork Waterford might have been the only game that was on TV, from the looks of things. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but obviously you had Armagh Down, which was on BBC Northern Ireland, but that's not accessible for people who are in the Republic or, you know, on this side of the border or whatever. So, like, when you look at it, like, a lot of games obviously streamed through GAA Go, and I've seen a lot of people, I suppose, angry with that on Twitter, angry on social media. Like, what's your thoughts on that? Like, do you think, like, it's fair for almost every game during a weekend to be on GAA Go? Like, usually we'd get a game on Saturday night on RTE. Usually you'd get, you know, a couple of games on the Sunday on RTE. But I suppose everything was on GAA Go at the weekend, which was a little bit different anyway to what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, it was a difficult one. I think Galway Kilkenny was the other game shown on RT, but that's still 2 games this weekend. That really, it isn't good enough when you look at it from that side of a point of view. And probably myself, and I would imagine yourself, bought the GAA Go early pass in December, and we don't have those issues and stuff like that. But like, it is bad for, you know, elderly and things like that. That's probably the big thing in general. But it is a really, really tough one, because last year those games would have been shown on Sky. That's the main thing out of this. And the main thing out of GAA Go was to get Sky's influence gone, because the GAA wasn't developing as they hoped in the UK and stuff like that. But GAA hasn't been free to air other than RT since 2013 now. Correct me if I'm wrong now. I think it was TV3 the last time GAA was free to air then. But it hasn't been free to air since. And look, I'd ask anybody in the comments or anybody in social media or anybody watching this, which would you actually rather, Sky Sports or GAA Go? Because that's an honest question. Like, it is a difficult one at the same time. Like, Sky, you would have bought the whole package and stuff like that. Whereas GAA Go, I thought anyway, it's just me maybe, Aaron, but I thought €59 in December for the whole pass for the whole season. I thought that was a good price. I thought it was decent enough. I bought it anyway. I've enjoyed it ever since. I enjoyed games like New York and Leitrim and things like that. And the great thing about GAA Go, you don't just get the games, in my opinion. For €59 December, for example, if you pay that amount like I did, you get games on demand. You can watch them back, which is very handy for podcasters and stuff like that. You could just watch the full game back and go to whatever point in the game you want. And that's a brilliant thing for me. But I do get the cons with it, with the elderly. And I know it from my grandparents and things like that. It's very, very hard to watch GAA games now since the GAA left TV3. It's only on RT. And I'd imagine for fans that are into football to see all the games being on GAA Go or BBC Northern Ireland, I think it was wrong enough. And when you look at the hurling games on TV, like Kilkenny Galway lacked a bit of spark, to be honest with you. Cork and Waterford was over after half time, and it wasn't really a good omen. But another thing, which is as much of a disgrace as anything, in my opinion, there was no Saturday game last night. Or sorry, should I say Saturday night? And they've crammed all the highlights into the Sunday game. Like, in the Sunday game last night, they could have talked about, you know, the Tadley Cup seedings, the Sam Maguire seedings, the GAA News of the Week, like they do in the Sunday game nowadays, rather than speeding through so many games. They could have easily put Clare and Limerick game highlights as the Saturday game, as well as Tyrone and Derry, and as well as the other Leinster games with Wexford and Dublin were involved in those. So I think they should have done that. That's as big of a disgrace this weekend as the GAA Go stuff. But in general, I don't know, this might be an unpopular opinion, Aaron, but I think GAA Go, I think it's an excellent service so far. It's looking good so far. I think the analysts, the presenters there, one of the presenters was actually on my podcast, and Ashton O'Reilly, doing an excellent job on GAA Go at the moment. And the main thing with GAA Go, you can watch games on demand. And I think that's a brilliant service to have for €59 for a year. Honestly, Aaron, I think that's a good price. When you look at GAA prices down through the years, when you look at what you have to pay for Sky Sports down through the years, I think it's a good price. I don't know what you think of that yourself.
Yeah, like, I think it's interesting, all right. Like, I think obviously, I think all of us would clearly prefer, obviously, if it was on Virgin Media or something of that nature. Maybe if TG Cahir were to take over that hold and show championship games and everything else. Obviously, we would all prefer that because it would be free and we wouldn't have to pay. Like I think that goes without saying. But I suppose the main thing probably is, in my opinion, from a with GAA Go, is that it's like I don't know if there's enough there at times. Like I don't know if they're showing enough throughout the entire year. Like obviously they've been shown quite a bit in the championship. It'd be very handy if they could show more games in the league. Be great to maybe have a highlight show on that as well. Different things. I know you can watch the Sunday game through GAA Go, in fairness. But yeah, like I think that's the thing. Like it'd be nice to have more options, more games. But as you said, like in terms of the price, obviously before Christmas, like I actually got the one I only paid for it a couple of weeks ago, so I think I ended up paying like 70 or 75 euro in the end, which was a little bit annoying. But as you said, before December, 59 euro was a lot better than what it was previously. And like it's like it is a good service. It runs fairly well, but at the same time, there has been some streaming issues. There has been some technicalities as well. Like obviously, it's the first time it's come in, but I suppose like if you were to look between GAA Go and Sky, you probably would go for GAA Go, in fairness, because like trying to get Sky packages, obviously you have to. There's a lot of effort involved. Whereas GAA Go, you can just pay for it, and if you're not a huge GAA fan, you could just watch it casually and pay for the odd game here or there, and maybe follow your own county. So I suppose it feels like it's the best of a bad bunch in some ways, but like I think if they keep improving it, keep evolving it, maybe show more games, I think then we could maybe see it's definitely something we could get a lot more used to.
It is, and the thing was like a Seamus Brady for Play on GAA, follow his channel if you haven't already. He suggested that GAA should have a GAA kind of TV thing, not fan TV, just a GAA TV where you can see all the games and things like that. And I think, honestly, GAA Go is the closest thing we have to that. So I honestly think it's a good enough service indeed because of that. But like it is a difficult one at the same time, because like you said yourself, you'd pay 79 euro or something like that rather than the 59 euro early bird pass in December or whatever. But and some people would have followed the same thing, and I suppose that goes down, I suppose, to GAA creators and stuff like that on social media to notify the people that there is early bird passes and things like that in December. You could buy this for 59 euro. It'll save you a lot of money, rather than pay it late in like March, April, and then it'll be 79 euro or something like that, and you're ending up costing more money and stuff like that. So look, that's a must too, that people have to do that to notify the people to pay the 59 euro and things like that. But at the same time, I'd rather, if you were to say GAA Go or Sky Sports, because I think the GAA's with free to air. I think Conor McKenna mentioned on Twitter, not the Tyrone player, the GAA fanatic, he mentioned on Twitter that the free to air days are gone. Simply, like, I know a lot of people wanted to come back. They wanted to go back to TV3 the way it was back in 2013. But simply, the GAA are an organisation that want money to come in, want sufficient money to come in. Sky wasn't working for them. It simply wasn't, because you look at all the sports on Sky, the Premier League, Formula 1, that got a load of traction. Like Formula 1 got a load of traction in the UK over the years, and the GAA didn't. And the GAA must have been thinking last year, hey, there must be something wrong here, and we aren't getting the amount of service. And as well as that, Sky, I think Kevin McGorty mentioned on the GMAP podcast as well, with the games specifically last week with Laois in Dublin and Tipperary and Kerry. It's not a very good product when you're showing those type of games on Sky Sports. Okay, Dublin and Laois, Dublin and Wexford was showing last year, and it was an absolute joke by half time. And I don't think the Sky customers would have wanted that. Whereas with GAA Go, it's everybody's a fan of it. You can watch the games if you want to. Like, for example, Kerry, Tipperary and Laois and Dublin last week were both on GAA Go. I just decided not to watch them because they were over after half time, and I had common sense. I didn't want to watch them. But with Loud and Awfully yesterday, while I was in the car going home, for example, I watched that and I thought, other than my own Wi-Fi issues, not GAA Go and stuff like that, I thought it was a very good service. It showed, minute 1 to minute 70 up to extra time, and with no glitches or anything. I thought it was an excellent service. And another thing, I think they're doing something that's extraordinary compared to RT. You look at GAA Go's coverage at the moment, they're interviewing referees before the game. They're going amongst the fans to interview them. I think BBC Northern Ireland are doing the same thing. RT aren't doing it. And I suppose that's kind of the difference, Aaron. I know I don't, like, a lot of people won't like me saying this, but I think that's the difference between free-to-air coverage and paid coverage. You get what you pay for with paid coverage. With free-to-air, you specifically only get the game. And that's just my opinion. I think GAA Go, the analysts are good, the presenters are good, the plans are good, the connection's decent enough so far. The price, I think, is reasonable enough if you pay for it early. And I think it is here to stay, and I think it's a good enough service. I think it's better than Sky, in my opinion. And I think GAA Go enjoy showing GAA coverage, where Sky, especially with the nothing games like Dublin Wexford last year, don't. And I just think that's the difference between the two.
Yeah, like I think it's refreshing enough. Obviously, you have a whole host of new pundits as well, like the likes of Michael Murphy, for example. Paddy Andrews has always been a fairly decent listen on off the ball through the years, or through the last couple of years. So it's obviously interesting to hear his sort of take on games as well. So it is a bit more refreshing, and it is nice to have something different to what we're used to. I think we'll all agree that RT has become very stale and it's become very placid, and even last night as well at times in the Sunday game, like it's a bit too, it's just a bit too predictable. But there are a few comments coming in here. Mikey says that the problem isn't the GAA Go paywall, is that there isn't a fair share of games on TV. There should be minimum 2 semi-finals on TV this weekend. I don't think there should be more games behind a paywall than on TV. That's not keeping with the amateur ethos or whatever. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think more so what I meant was, for example, when you had Kildare versus Wicklow last weekend and Offaly versus Meath, like I think it would be great to have those games on GAA Go as well. Like maybe I'm asking for a bit too much there, but it would be nice to just have a bit more options, and the games that are, that wouldn't be normally broadcasted on TV would be accessible through GAA Go, because we know there are cameras in the grounds, and it was 2 years ago, I think it was 2021 and 2020, where every game was accessible through GAA Go, and I thought it was a phenomenal service, to be honest with you. It was brilliant to obviously go back and watch games and keep up with games. So like if they could go back to something like that, it would be absolutely perfect.